Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for attending today's Atticus Advantage webinar. Is your practice ready for the Double Your Revenue Challenge? My name is Mike Wells. I'm a resource advisor here with Atticus. And before we begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit about us if you're not familiar with Atticus. We were founded in 1989 to provide in-depth, ongoing support and accountability programs for lawyers and their firms that effectively help you increase your gross revenue and your personal income, take away that stress and the number of hours you're at the office, have greater career satisfaction, and give you more time for family and personal interests. What kinds of attorneys do we work with? Well, a lot of our attorneys are solo and small firm attorneys, managing partners and leaders at those practices. We do also partner with some legal associations to provide CLE content and workshops. And we work with you from the beginning of opening your practice all the way to your succession plan. So we consider you to be a lifetime client. Our services include monthly webinars like this one. We also have one-day workshops and half-day workshops, quarterly in-person group programs, one-on-one coaching, and we also have a number of books in our online library that you can look at. Before I introduce our speaker today, I'd like to encourage you to pull out pencil and paper at the ready and to take lots of notes because this session is interactive. And we will unmute you later if you have a question toward the end of the presentation. So once again, today's presentation is your practice ready for the Double Your Revenue Challenge. And today's speaker is the creator of the Double Your Revenue Workshop, Steve Riley. He helps attorneys grow their practices, and he has a special way of helping you when you're stuck and guiding you through a process of self-discovery and major breakthroughs. He's a shareholder in Atticus, which is the largest practice management company in the country, working with solo and small firm lawyers. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Steve. Steve, thank you so much for leading today's presentation. This is an important topic, and I think a lot of firm owners will get a great deal out of it.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Welcome to the webinar, everybody. I hope this is a new venture for some of you, and welcome to some of our old friends and colleagues and customers that are hanging out listening to today's webinar. Today's conversation is really, are you up for the Double Your Revenue Challenge? So the Double Your Revenue Workshop is really a one-day workshop that's designed to help you think through how to take your firm twice of what it's doing. So if your firm's doing $500,000 in revenue, we work for one day thinking about what it'd take your firm to go to $1 million. Or if you're 5 million, how it goes to 10 million. But it's really a thinking process and a methodology of how to think through your growth. Now, why do we do this? Why do we do this? Well, for us, we really want to stimulate great thinking, because the last thing I want to do is see you grow your firm by increasing your billable rate incrementally or increasing your fixed prices incrementally and working more. The only way you're really going to grow is by coming up with some innovative ideas in your firm. This is why we created the workshop. We really, really want you to say, okay, I got to think differently about how I practice, because how I practice currently is driving me crazy. And this is why I love the Double Your Revenue Challenge as a workshop. Because really, when lawyers look at this, they usually go, I got 3 really big reasons why not to do the workshop. 1, I'm already too busy. Like, I am so busy. The thought of getting on an airplane, traveling to a workshop, doing the workshop, and then coming home and implementing what I learned from the workshop, it's just too much for me. It's just too much. 2, are you trying to kill me, Steve? If I get 2 times more of what I have today, I feel like I'm going to work 10 times as hard. I don't want it. I don't even like half the stuff I'm doing now, which is directly correlated to your thinking, your habits, how you're approaching the practice. It's really critical, and this is where most lawyers miss it. They think that activity is confused with outcome. They think that activity is confused with results. And that's the problem. Most lawyers are in an activity trap. We're in the busyness trap. We're going, because we're too busy to think about how we're thinking about our own practice. So, of course, you're going to be terrified. If you're looking at doing the Double Your Revenue Challenge, you're going to be like, Oh, no, because that sounds like a lot more work. I'd like to have twice the revenue, but I don't have to do 10 times more work to get twice the revenue. I promise you, you don't. In fact, you actually have to do less work. You just have to do different type of work when you're growing for a 2 times number. That's the big secret. A lot of lawyers don't get it. They think they have to work more hours, longer, and you really don't. You have to change the activities from day to day. You can't be focused on the same things that you're doing now to actually go 2 times. And then last but not least, is it worth the time of investment and money? Well, we've been teaching this workshop for about 15 years. It is a money back guarantee workshop. So if you come, you're like, it wasn't worth it, we will give your money back. And it's a standing offer that if you come to the workshop, you don't think the workshop was valuable, I'll give it back to you. Right then and there, no big deal. Now, the time is a different thing because it's like joining a gym. If you join the gym, you actually have to go to the gym to work out. Joining the You can't expect to have an out if you don't do the work before, during, and after the workshop. It won't happen. So it's really up to you if you're going to invest that time. It's really up to you if you're going to be the type of person that's going to commit to a workshop, follow through with the homework, and really play full out. I can't help you with that. That's a decision you have to make. That's something you have to bring to the party. It's something that you have to show the work ethic for, the commitment for, the courage for, and really the intention for. So I want to talk about these right up front because these are 3 common concerns I hear from everybody when they're looking at doing the Double Your Revenue Challenge. I'm too busy already. Yeah, you're too busy doing the wrong stuff. That's part of the problem. 2, it sounds like a lot of work. It is and it isn't. It's the old Henry Ford quote, is thinking the hardest work that most people have to do. And you're going to have to do 1 day of thinking to get 2 times the revenue. Not 1 day of work. Working is actually a lot easier than thinking. And that's the funny part about this. You have to slow down, spend a day. We'll put you through somewhere between 10 to 20 different brainstorming and thinking exercises, how to double your practice. But you can't get it by working harder. You can't get it by working longer. That's the trap, and it's a fool's gold. A lot of lawyers think that how they're going to grow and make more money is work harder and work longer. It's fool's gold. It's a trap. It'll never, ever work. Just think about it. If you work harder and longer, all you're going to do is have incremental improvement because you can't work much harder and much longer than what most lawyers are doing. And then the investment's really up to you. I've got the money part handled. Are you up for the investment of your time? Are you up for the commitment of your time? That's something you have to determine. I can't help you with that. It's something that you have to decide whether you're going to put that whether you're going to put that skin into the game, so to speak. Now, we have 3 goals out of today's webinar. Number 1 is determine if your practice and your mind are strong enough to take on the workshop. You may not be ready for the workshop. If you're not ready for the workshop, I'm going to recommend something else for you to do to get you ready. It's like getting someone like an athlete ready for a competition. If you're going to do the competition, you're not ready, your coach may say, you're not ready. Let's back you up. Let's redo some more retraining. Let's have your fitness worked on. Let's have your cardio worked on, your strength worked on, but because you're not ready for the competition. And that's part of what today is about. You're going to self-score and self-assess your current performance against what I would consider and Atticus consider best practices before you're ready to take on the Double Your Revenue Challenge. And 3 is to consider if there might be another way we can help you to support your growth goals or goals, whatever they may be, other than going for the Double Your Revenue Challenge. Great. Now, here's my first thought, my first recommendation as we start to go through this process. And if you're looking at email right now, if you're driving, if you're doing anything where you're halfway paying attention, just listen to me for 1 moment. Then after that, go back to doing whatever you're doing. The practice that you have today is directly because of the thinking that you had yesterday. To have the practice in life that you dream about in your head that you wish for, you have to change your thinking, habits, and skills today. Otherwise, you're going to have the same practice tomorrow. The current business skills you have today, your time management skills, your marketing skills, your team management skills, your pricing, your cash flow, your profitability skills, are all the skills that produce your current practice. So if you're going to change to a different practice, you have to really take a step back and look at the business skills, not your legal skills, but your business skills. And then the critical element is that you must change your thinking to build tomorrow's practice. Otherwise, you could do it today. And that's the blind spot that a lot of people have. They don't see that when they're looking at this. They think that there's some magic pill that we have. The magic pill is we get you to look at and shift how you currently think about your practice. And we have you look at different business skills. And we have you look at those from multiple different perspectives. It's like turning a diamond around in different ways and holding up to the light. You see different facets. Your current skills today, in particular, your current business skills today, have given you the practice that you have today. If you want to have a different practice tomorrow, you want to go ahead and think about, how do I shift those current skills today for that practice tomorrow? Now, when I look at that, these are probably the most critical skills to doubling your firm's revenue, and the most critical things to think about towards having a 2x firm. Number one, your mindset. And we're going to walk through what I consider a business owner mindset versus a lawyer mindset. 2, your time management skills. And this is a big one. This is probably the biggest blind spot that most lawyers don't get. 3, your marketing skills and client development skills. 4, what I consider your foundation. How strong is your firm's foundation? How strong is your foundation for growth? Profitability. If you're going to grow a firm 2 times, one of the biggest lever points or leverage points will be your firm's profitability. Change. Look, if you're going to go for the Double Your Revenue Challenge, the biggest thing that you're going to be able to do, or have to learn how to do, is make personal changes and then lead the rest of your firm through a change process. That's really critical, because you may have a grand vision, but if you can't communicate the change to yourself, you can't buy into the change yourself, you're not going to be able to sell your team on the change. And then last but not least, what's your entrepreneurial attitude about growth? Where's your head at when it comes to having a good attitude about this? Now, why did we score it? Well, I love Peter Drucker. And Drucker says, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And for me, we use a lot of tools in our Dominate Your Market program, Practice Growth program, the Rainmakers program, to have you self-assess where you're at today and where you'd like to be tomorrow. So when we look at this, a lot of these things are designed to give you clear objectives and clear measurements to improve. And as we look at this, we are really going after what we consider the solo and small firm foundations of growth. And the foundations for growth are really designed to help you improve your income, control of your time, your freedom, your autonomy, and your impact on your family and community, and not least your revenue and your net income. Now, these 4 skills, these are the 4 critical skills. Now, your legal skills are absolutely crucial. But to run the business, the legal skills are implied and assumed. We're going to assume that you're a great lawyer. We're going to assume that you know how to draft or try a case or whatever it is that you provide your client. But the business skills of time management, client development, marketing, building and managing and leading a great team, and learning about cash flow, pricing, and profitability are really the 4 things that will actually drive your growth more than anything else, way beyond your legal skills. Now, as you grow, this is typically what we see lawyers go through. They go through somewhat of a mind shift and thinking process, where first they learn how to manage themselves more effectively. They learn how to be better at what they're already doing and stronger at what they're already doing. And I call this stage just kind of managing yourself. You learn how to improve your time management. You know how to improve your habits. You know how to be a good leader. You know how to be really a accountable firm owner. And those things require some cleanup. Most of the time in our programs, we typically see a lawyer go through a 1 to 2 to 3 year process before they feel like they can manage their stuff well. Then their next jump of revenue really is correlated to the management of their team. And the better they get at managing their team, the better that they can grow revenue and better they can grow profitability. Then the next stage, and it's really where you see the lawyers become market dominant players, is they learn how to manage their managers. And they basically build an organization where they have profit centers that are run by managers. The managers can be lawyers, associates, partners. But at the end of the day, to really grow and become a market dominant player, your legal skills are critical, but the most important skills become your business skills. And those are the business skills that seem invisible to lawyers because we're not trained to look for them. We're not trained to think about how to improve our business skills. We're not trained on how to run effective meetings. We're not trained to think about how to price for our services. We're not trained to think about how to provide extraordinary customer service. We're not trained to think about how to ask our prospects and clients for great referrals. We're just trained to do law stuff. And at the end of the day, that's what gets us. I did trial work for 20 years. I did estate planning and elder law. I still can't get my hands out of that type of a practice. And I realized how profoundly poorly we were trained to be good at running businesses. We were just trained to be great associates. And everything else that we learned, we had to learn on our own outside of the domain of the academic domain of being a great lawyer. I mean, we just had to learn something else outside. And that's why Atticus is so important. That's why Atticus is so critical. That's how come I've quit practicing law and really focused my time and attention at helping other lawyers grow their businesses by changing how they think about the practice of law. Completely a critical element. It's probably the most important element. So let's go do some work together. I mean, I've kind of laid down why we're doing this, what my thinking is, where we're struggling with it, why we think it's so important. But let's do some math and thinking. Now, as we do this, please remember that if your day looks like this jelly bean jar, any improvement that you make probably won't matter. I could give you a plan today. I can email it to you and say, do the following 10 things to double your firm's revenue and to increase your profitability. But if your day looks like this, where you jammed everything in and you are coming in the morning after, being exhausted from working the day before, and your to-do list is massive, your email inbox is massive, and you're using your desk as a to-do list, and you are just drowning, and you're trying to do emails, draft, text, and listen to me at the same time, you're going to have a very difficult time to double your firm's revenue because you don't have the time management skills and the focus skills. If you're going to go for this, one of the goals that I'm going to recommend that you have coming out of the workshop is that you look at ways of protecting time for growth. If you're going to look for growth, one of the most important things that you have to do is build time in your calendar to work on your growth project and protect that time. You can't grow by thinking about it. You actually have to do some work. And you have to have a reason to do this. We've studied change. I've studied change for the past 25 years of my life. And I know that you won't see any change or any growth unless 3 elements are met. Number 1, you have to have a compelling reason to grow. You have to have a compelling reason to go for 2 times number. You need to have a system of accountability and follow-up. and you need coaching and guidance. If any of these three elements are missing, you will fail. Statistically, only about 2% of the people that will attend a workshop will be successful in implementing something they've learned out of the workshop, because they do not have a compelling reason, they don't have a system of accountability, and they don't have coaching and guidance on how to implement what they've learned. Great. And for those of you that heard that great big noise, that was me dropping the great big glass of water across the floor. So everything's fine. It just dropped some water. So anyhow, after that little piece of excitement for me, let me get back to my presentation. So as we look at this and we look at the foundations for growth, one of the big elements for me is, if you're going to go for growth, the first place that you have to work is on your time management skills and your time management thinking and your focus. That's the leverage point to start to work on everything else. This is why when people start to work with us from a coaching perspective, the first thing that we try and do is work on their time management skills and their focus management skills, to open up room so they can breathe, open up room so they can think, open up room so they can recover, open up room so they can actually work on growing the firm. Critical leverage point. Great. Now, let's see how you're doing. Let's see if you're ready for the challenge. Hopefully by now you've downloaded the scorecard. And let's find out if you're ready for the W Revenue Challenge. Let's just see if you're ready for it and how you stack up. So first, if you haven't downloaded it, let's go ahead and download the scorecard, and we'll walk through the scorecard. I'll take you through it piece by piece by piece. The scorecard should be a PDF that you can download. I'll walk you through each criteria. And if you notice, this criteria scored from 1 to 12. 1 being low, meaning it's the lowest possible score you can give yourself. 12 is the highest possible score that you can give yourself. Some of this is just going to have to be arbitrary and capricious, where you're going to say, okay, I think I'm on X, and you're going to have to circle whatever that number is. And then at the end of this, we will have you tally up what your score is. And on the bottom, you can write down any insights that you basically have as you go through this and you start to think about it. A lot of our clients, when we go through this process, really learn a lot about their practice and learn a lot about them. So if you're somewhere where you can take a moment, pause the work that you're doing, your email or texting, whatever you're doing, and just pay attention for the next 15 to 20 minutes and score yourself. I promise you, you're going to pick up 2 or 3 profound insights from this process. Great. So let's hit the first criteria, the business owner mindset. So the business owner mindset is, in running my practice, am I thinking like a lawyer, or am I thinking like a business owner? Now, this is a key distinction. A lawyer is going to do the work of the business. They're going to think about, what do I have to do to take care of this client? What do I have to take care of this case? What do I have to do to get this work done? But a business owner is going to think about it differently. They're going to think about, how are they going to create extraordinary value for that client? How are they going to get that work through a system and a process profitably and effectively for that client? They're not going to just worry about getting the work done. They're really going to worry about how to do the work profitably and effectively. So you're going to have to start to think, well, what's my business owner thought process? Because the second you became a partner, the second you opened up your own practice, you became a business owner. The only thing I can liken this to or compare it to is being a parent. The second you had a child, you're going to be a parent. Now you're a parent. The second you open up your practice, you're now a business owner. And saying that you're not a business owner when you have your own practice is akin to saying that you're not a parent when you have a child. You are by default the owner of a business, whether you like it or not. So you're either going to choose to embrace it and run with it and make it the most spectacular business possible for you and your clients and your team, or you're just going to suffer the fact that you're an accidental entrepreneur, an accidental business owner. So let's score yourself. So the low score, the first box, I'm too busy to waste time to strategize, plan, and think about my business. Every day is another game of whack-a-mole. I come in tired and anxious and leave hoping for a better day tomorrow. If that's what your day-to-day experience is, score yourself 1, 2, or 3. The next category is I'm stuck. My revenues are flat, if not declining. My competition and market are too vast. I can see that I must elevate my business skills to grow, but I'm not sure where to start. You know in your heart of hearts that you're not getting ahead. In fact, you're starting to go backwards and you can't figure out what to do. It's a sign that your business skills are weak. You're not looking at it from a business perspective. You're in the trench as a lawyer. 7, 8, and 9. I'm ambitious and open to new ideas. Not many lawyers are, by the way. I know my growth is driven more by my business skills than my legal skills. I'm consciously aware of that. My firm is driving more to a client-centric experience while I improve my business skills. I am cautiously optimistic about the future. 10, 11, and 12, the highest possible scores. I know I must challenge myself to grow. Every business must grow or die. A business can't stay static or status quo. I have mastered my time management, marketing, team building, and I have an understanding of my numbers. I'm excited about my future. So go ahead and score yourself. Go ahead and write on the right-hand side where you think you are on that, or just circle it, whatever works out for you. The next one is time management. We talked about time management earlier. My time management skills. So let's look at this. Am I making, and this is the key question, the highest and best use of my time? Not am I busy. The question is, are you being effective? So let's look at this. So if you say I'm worn out, every day is a barrage of interruptions, crisis, and emails. I am not focused on my highest and best use, and I can't implement changes. I am trapped at my desk or trapped on my email. If that's the case, you probably want to score yourself a 1, 2, or 3. A 4, 5, and 6. Next stage, I get in early and stay late. I check my email constantly. This is the person that when they get up in the morning, as they're making coffee, they pull up their phone and start checking their email. I'm overwhelmed and way behind. I want to focus my efforts, but I'm not sure how. I've gone without a true vacation for years. Now, let me talk about what I mean by vacation. I have lawyers all the time say, I take vacations all the time. And I say, okay, great. So that means you didn't check email, you didn't talk to clients, you didn't do legal work. Oh, no, I did. I did email in the morning, or I did email at night after my kids went to bed. I made client phone calls. I mean, I had to keep working. Then you didn't take a vacation. You just work remotely. You just work somewhere else that was more expensive. And you may have worked part-time, but that's not a vacation. You got to be honest about this. It's the craziest darn thing. I talk to lawyers all the time. They go, oh, I've taken vacations. No, you don't. You work remotely. A vacation day is a 24-hour window where you don't have to check your email and you don't have to talk to somebody about legal work. You actually vacate. You emotionally and intellectually allow yourself to recover. You rejuvenate, you relax, you have fun, but you don't work. So you have to not lie about this. You have to tell the truth. So if you're working on vacation, it's not a vacation. You're just working part-time and you're working remote. 7, 8, and 9. I can sustain long work sprints and balance my workload. I'm constantly looking for ways of improving my time management. In the past year, I've taken at least 2 weeks with no email or phone calls. When I say 2 weeks, I mean 14 days consecutively. I know we're all lawyers, it's difficult. I mean a 2-week period where there's no email, no phone calls. In the practice growth program, this is one of the challenges that we give lawyers in the first year, to get their systems in control, get their firm in control. We want them to go for a 2-week vacation where there's no emails or no phone calls. It is one of the most liberating experiences of your life if you haven't done it in a while. Those of you who are young kids, don't blow it. Don't blow it. It's such a wonderful experience to be able to take great time and be present to your children instead of dealing with client phone calls, office stuff. Go enjoy your life. That's what you work so hard to go to law school for. That's why you work so hard during the day. You've got to think through how to do this. Now, you may have partners that don't do this. You may have friends that don't do this. I just can only tell you, don't fall into that trap. Don't fall into that trap. Make your family first. Make your family a priority and do it through your practice. Just make your practice serve your life. Don't become a prisoner to your practice. Next, I'm focused during the day and feel like we're making progress towards our goal. I have control over my time and can easily take 8 weeks off a year without checking emails or phone calls. Our market dominant players on our market dominant program, their challenge is 175 days with no emails, no phone calls to the office. To do this, it's totally possible to do this. Of the 500 some odd firms that we work with currently, I'd say 100 to 150 law firms have owners that can do this and do this easily. Now, they can do it systemically, they can do it easily from a planning perspective. Emotionally, it's hard, but it's a great way of testing how well the firm works without them. It makes the firm far more valuable if the owner is not there. So it's one of the things to consider. Marketing. Let's go to the next category, marketing. How much am I driven by the desire to get not any client, but great clients, really great clients? Think about the top 4 or 5 clients that you've had in the past year or the 90 days. If you're a contingency fee firm, think about the best cases you worked on, family law firm. You know, think about what were the clients that just really like made your day. Now, with that would be a great client. I'm not talking about just any client. I mean, great cases, great people to work with, people that will refer you other people. Those are great clients, not the crazy people that suck your time and won't pay their bills. Those are awful clients. There's a big difference between the two. So when I say double your revenue, I don't say double your revenue off the crappy clients. So get twice as many crappy clients, get 4 times as many great clients, and eliminate the crappy clients. It will totally transform your practice. I know it's a crazy idea, but it will totally change everything. Now let's talk about that for a second as we go through the scorecard. 1, 2, and 3. I'm too busy to market. If I did make the time, I would not market. I'd rather just practice law than work on growing my practice. This is who you want to refer your bad cases to, because this poor joker won't know the difference. This poor joker is doomed. They're just going to work harder, and they're not going to think about the quality of cases, not the quality of pricing, not the quality of profitability. They're just going to work harder. And it looks like a miserable 25 to 30-year careers. That just looks awful. 4, 5, and 6. I am more reactive to my marketing than proactive, meaning that marketing opportunities come to me, but I'm not proactively going out, seeking them or developing opportunities to generate great clients. People come to me with art marketing ideas. People come to me with great referral relationships. People refer great cases to me, but I'm not proactively cultivating great cases. So go ahead and score yourself here. 7, 8, and 9. I know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. I'm consistently marketing. I know there's some areas in our marketing that could be better, but I've not had the time or capacity to work on those areas. So see if you're in that category. 10, 11, and 12. I have a strategic approach to marketing. I receive a consistent amount of high caliber prospects and selectively just take the best cases. My competitors are jealous and can't outmarket me. You know you're doing great when your friends who are also your competitors tell you, I am so sick of hearing your name and I really wish you would retire so I do not have to compete against you anymore. When you start getting what I like to get, those trifecta referrals with 3 people that don't know you, like a doctor, a financial planner, and another lawyer who all don't know each other, refer you a case, you know you're starting to make some inroads in the referral-based marketing approach. We're getting 5, 6, 10 of those, you know, and when I say those, I mean like a week or a month, you're getting those leads, those caliber leads, you know you're getting traction in the marketplace. You know that you're getting there. That's when you can pick and choose great cases. That's really when you can say, okay, I really want to increase my pricing, or I really want to get picky about the type of contingency fee cases I want to have. I want to raise my case value cases. You know, the case value of my cases. I really want to improve the quality of work that we get in the door. All that's tied to marketing. And to improve your marketing, you actually have to work on your time management skills. Then you work on your marketing skills, and then you learn how to ask ethically and appropriately for great work. There's so much work that you can do here, so much fun in this particular area for the lawyer that's got just a little bit of business skills. Not a lot, just a little. You just need a little here. Great. So those are the first three criteria. Go ahead and score yourself. So you might be a 5, a 6, and a 4. So you go ahead, 5, 6, 4, whatever it might be in the right-hand column. With that, I'm going to move to the next one. The next one is the foundation. This is how strong is my firm in its current state, and could it handle twice as many clients? Well, this is really a big one. You know, we're overwhelmed now. I'm working on weekends and evenings. My staff is on the verge of burnout and complaining me they have way too much work to do. Yeah, if that's the case, you're probably not ready to come see me. You need to work with one of our coaches. You might consider running the practice growth program, but you may not be ready for the Double Your Revenue Challenge. You don't have the foundation to stand on. 4, 5, and 6, we have ebbs and flows to our marketing and inconsistent cash flow. I'm hesitant to make changes or invest in the future or to hire anyone until my confidence about the future improves. 7, 8, and 9, we're in a growth mode. We have a strong foundation and capacity, keyword capacity, for taking on great cases. I'm happy about our workflow, meaning the systems and processes to get the work done. Our turnaround, meaning how long it takes to get work completed. What's your time on the desk like? Our caseload and cash reserve. The future looks good. And then 10, 11, and 12. This is a very clever lawyer. This is a very sharp business owner. I have excess capacity for new growth, and most importantly, have a written plan to increase the revenue. And the caveat to that is that the whole team understands. And I'm confident about the future. I manage myself and my team to peak performance. So go ahead and score yourself where you think you are in your foundation. Next one, profitability. Are we making what we should be? One of the challenges is if you're asking yourself, is this worth it? Am I making what I should as a lawyer? Then your profitability is off. You're off. So for me, the profitability is a key element. So let's go ahead and walk through this one. I'm not actually sure what I'm paid. I don't know my overhead. I don't know what I should be making. I just come in and work hard like all the other great lawyers do, like all my friends. 4, 5, and 6. I don't feel like I'm earning what I should. In fact, I'm starting to resent working in my own firm, and it's not worth it. I feel trapped. I need to do something different, but I'm not sure what. This is usually the lawyer that's hoping to write a novel or hoping to win the lotto. They just feel trapped. 7, 8, and 9. I make a good living. As I look at my peers, I think I'm in the upper 10 to 20% income-wise. I have a nice lifestyle. I feel comfortable. If there are ways to increase profitability, I don't see them, but I'm open to the idea. 10, 11, 12. I'm making a great living, clearly in the upper 5%. In addition to what I'm being paid, I'm also making profits as shareholders. I'm constantly focusing on ways of increasing value to my clients while driving for increased profitability. Go ahead and score yourself on profitability. Change. This is an interesting one. I find this one very interesting. 1 through 3. I have no reason to make any changes. There's nothing wrong with me. I am totally perfect. Everyone else needs to change. The problem is them, not me. If you agree with this, just give yourself a 1. I know we need to make changes. I'm not sure where to start. I'm confused and don't feel like I have support from others around me to make the changes. You got to see where you're at with that, 4, 5, or 6. I'm comfortable with looking at making changes, but I do sometimes struggle with what to change and how to change it. So I'm open to the idea. I'm just not sure what to do here. And this is usually a lawyer that knows they have the key to success. They just don't know which key to turn and what door first. And 10, 11, and 12, I understand that one of the things I must do as a leader is constantly be open to growth. If I'm not growing, others around me are not growing as well. So if you're growing, they're growing. If you're growing, the firm's growing. That's how that works. So go ahead and score yourself on openness to change. The next category is leading change. How well can I lead others, meaning my law firm, through changing circumstances? So this one's like, I have no reason to lead my firm through any changes. I hate change, and so does my team. We're way too busy. Just leave me alone and let me be alone. If that's the case, make the score, whatever the score may be. 4, 5, and 6. I know there's more to growing a business than showing up and working. I need leadership skills to help my firm identify what's changed and how I struggle with where to start. But my team resists change. My team needs me to chart a vision and help execute. They're open to change, but struggle with what, how, and why. I've successfully implemented some change, but lack the business skills to implement all the change that I want. This is really a leadership skill. This is not a legal skill. This is a leadership, vision, alignment, and execution skill. Your ability to communicate vision, ability to get people aligned on it, and ability to execute on it. 10, 11, and 12, I'm excited and our firm culture supports sustainable change. Not just changes, but sustainable change. My team understands change is necessary to stay ahead of the competition, and I know where we're going and how to help to get them there. So go ahead and score yourself on how well you think you can do at leading change. Next but not least, your entrepreneurial attitude. How well do you tolerate risk? And the lowest one, 1, 2, and 3 is I've risked enough. I want a guarantee. In fact, I'm entitled to a guarantee. I went to law school. I played by the rules. I worked hard. It's not fair that I'm not getting what I want. That would be a 1, 2, or 3. If you totally agree with that, I would go with a 1. What I have currently works, but I'm afraid if I change it, it will be a mistake. My best strategy is to work a little longer and harder, and I will get ahead. This is where you have a very low risk tolerance and you're afraid to put anything on the table, and you're afraid to invest into the workshop or take the time to try something different. Just score yourself on that 4, 5, or 6 where you land. 7, 8, 9. To grow, I know my business skills must develop. Take my practice forward. My legal skills got me to the game, but improving my business skills helped me win the game. And that's the funny thing about this. Most lawyers don't get. It's the business skills that make you the market dominant player, not your legal skills. 10, 11, and 12. It's a business. To grow, I must take calculated and thoughtful risk. I'm confident with the right strategy and support, I can grow my business 2 times. So go ahead and score yourself on that. So we've gone through all these criteria. What I'd like you to do is just take a moment and write down what you think your biggest insight is. Like out of doing this exercise, what's your biggest insight? What's the biggest aha for you out of doing this exercise, out of self-scoring and self-assessing yourself? Now, if you're listening to this as a recording, just put it on pause and you can kind of hang here and put down any thoughts or self-score, anything that you want to capture any of your thinking. If you're with me doing this live, just scratch it down, do the best you can, and you can always come back and look at this afterwards. So what do these rankings really mean for you and your firm? Well, typically from our perspective, 1 to 3, if you're scoring 1 to 3 in any category, you're acknowledging that you're struggling with the issue, but the truth is you've got no plan to improve. You're kind of fatalistic and defeatist about it and stuck. 4, 5, and 6, you're not really failing per se, but you're certainly steeping in frustration. You're kind of drowning in frustration and really struggling with your firm's ability to create growth. You need help on the foundational growth elements of your business. 7, 8, 9. Well, you're actually doing pretty darn well in managing growth in any of those categories. I would say that if you've got a 7, 8, and 9 in the category, that's a really good sign. It means you've got some good innate business skills. But it typically knows that you have room for improving and you can raise the bar. 10, 11, and 12 means that you've pretty much mastered this issue and you know you're ready for a much bigger game. because if you've doubled your revenue once, you can totally double it again and again and again, but you're in the realm of best thinking, best strategy, and best practices. So what does your total mean? You've done the math, you see where you need some improvement, but what does all this mean? So what we're going to do is Mike is going to help us, and he's going to walk us through how to take a poll. And Mike, would you mind joining us in opening the poll for us?
Yes, you should see it on your screen right now. It's asking you what your total score was. You can select one of the options from 8 to 24, 25 to 48, 49 to 72, and 73 to 96. And we're collecting some responses right now. Seeing a lot of people, about half of the group is leaning toward 49 to 72. And about 14% are putting themselves in the 73 to 96%. And 25% of you are putting yourselves in the 25 to 48. Nobody has ranked themselves below 25.
Excellent. Good job. So Mike, is that something where you want to share the poll, or are you just going to share it through talking about it?
Just through talking about it right now. We'll include the results as well in the follow-up.
Okay, good work. So good work, everybody. Thank you for going ahead and sharing the poll, letting us know where you're at. We were curious to see how you'd score and how you'd self-score. So what I would suggest you do is look at what was your lowest score. Look at your scores and say, which one's my lowest score? And answer the question, why? Why is that your lowest score? Great. Now we'll move to the next one, which is the next exercise. Which score was your highest and why? And if you're going to improve the score, assuming it's not maxed out, what are you going to take to improve that score? Because that's your strong suit. That's something that you're incredibly gifted at or strong at or have these skills around. So that's your pivot point. That's your anchor. That's where you'll go as a source of confidence to help you bring up your lowest score. But why? Why are you so high in that score? Because there's something there to be learned. One of the things we do in live workshops with our clients is that we always have the people with high scores share. Why is that score high? What are they doing to increase that score? What are they doing behind the scenes to make that work? So you've scored yourself. You've gone through the Am I Ready for the W Revenue Challenge scorecard. You've looked at what's lowest. You've looked at what's highest. What do? Well, if you think you're ready, come to the W Revenue Workshop. If you think you're ready and ready to take it on, come to the workshop. We've got 3 of them up and running. We've got one in September that our founder, Mark Powers, is leading. And then October 4th in Denver, I'm leading one, which is going to have a very strong elder law and estate planning bit to it because it's sponsored by Elder Council. And then on December 6th, the Friday of that week, we're doing a W Revenue Workshop in Orlando, Florida, which will be running alongside our annual conference that we call the Game Changer Summit. So if you have a chance to do that, I would really encourage you to do that. If not, you have the September 20th workshop, the October 4th workshop, and the December 6th workshop. And if you need more information, you can go to our website, atticusadvantage.com, or you can email us at grow@atticusadvantage.com, and we'll do whatever we can do to help you, register. We are teaching one time this year, a one-time workshop on Friday the 3rd, October 3rd, in Denver, Colorado, a How to Build a Profitable Team workshop. And this workshop is really designed to think through how to build profit centers inside your firm. Now, this is only going to be taught one time this year. If you think you're interested in that, want more information on that, don't hesitate to email us at grow@atticusadvantage.com, and we'll get you more information on that workshop. All of these programs are typically limited. All these programs are typically limited to around 35 lawyers. We typically will encourage you to bring your team leader. If you have a partner, I'm going to encourage you to bring your partner and really, bring the decision maker so you can get some really great work done. Usually the biggest complaint people say after the workshop, they usually say, "Why, I wish I brought my firm administrator, I wish I brought my partner, or I wish I brought whomever," who might be a leadership or thought leader inside your firm. That's typically what happens. So if you're going to come, we'd encourage you to bring that person with you. Typically the seats are limited to about 35 people a workshop. Great. Now, if you say, "Look, oh good Lord, Steve, I did not do well on the scorecard. I'm struggling with the scorecard. I didn't do great on this. I'm kind of freaked out actually." I'm going to recommend that you not come to the Double Your Revenue workshop. I'm going to recommend that you do what we call a practice growth diagnostic and just work with one of our coaches. It's a $295 investment. And it really allows you to take a deeper look at your leadership and practice management skills. We give you a peek today at your firm's performance from your viewpoint, not anyone else's, just your viewpoint. And if you want to take a further step in improving that score, I would recommend that you start to work with one of our coaches or look at doing the practice growth program and looking at some way of helping you get stronger business skills so you can improve that score so you're ready sometime in the future to take on something as exciting as the Double Your Revenue Challenge. The practice growth diagnostic typically begins with a practice assessment that you score yourself. You go through the solo and small firm foundations of growth. How are you doing at time management, marketing, team development? How are you doing cash flow pricing, profitability, those critical elements? And you kind of self-assess a little bit like what we did today. You get a DISC behavior profile. Now, for me, the DISC behavior is really a fantastic ability to look at how you prefer the world to work. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time. There's tons of information about that on our website, tons of information. If you look at, we have a video on the practice growth diagnostic. You can just walk through that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today. And next, you also have the coach who's giving you, who's working with you on the diagnostic, will give you their feedback, what they hear and what they see. Our coaches have been doing this for quite a long time. And then what are the 3 most important actions out of the practice growth diagnostic? Your investment for that is $295. It's a small investment, probably less than what most of you bill by the hour, but it's a good outcome. Once again, money back guarantee. Everything we do is money back guarantee. If you want to do that, the $295 does include the DISC. You can just basically go to atticusadvantage.com and click that little red button that says let's get started. And you can also listen to a video on the practice growth diagnostic and really, kind of get started that way. It's pretty easy to do. You can schedule online. It's pretty straightforward. And with that, you can also email us any questions that you have at grow@atticusadvantage.com. If you register for practice growth diagnostic today, we'll also include at no additional charge our time management book. My partners, Mark Powers and Sean McNally, wrote this book. It's a fantastic book on time management. My only encouragement as we start to bring this webinar to a close is to avoid the let's think about it program. One of the worst things that we can do as lawyers, we're intellectually trained, we're critical thinkers. We sometimes get thinking about things confused with action. Thinking about it is nothing more than another form of procrastination. You don't learn from thinking about it, you only learn from action. And I can tell you from 30 plus years of practicing law, it's probably the most profound thing that I picked up. I can't learn by thinking about how to try a case. I learn from trying a case. I can't learn from managing. I can't learn by thinking about managing or reading books. I learn from managing. And that's the truth of it. So when you look at something doing like this, I'm going to encourage you not to think about it, but to actually take some action. Do something that will allow you to improve your practice, which will have a greater impact on your clients, a greater impact on your family, and a greater impact on your life. And with that, I just want to thank you for taking the time. I know how hard it is to squeeze any time into an already busy practice. I'm going to give you a moment to type in, or if you've got a question, you can raise your hand and we'll unmute people that want to ask questions. Mike, are you with me?
Yes, I am. Again, as
Okay,
Steve
great.
said, if you'd like to use the chat function on your GoToWebinar dashboard, you can send a message to the event organizer, that's me. If you'd like that question to remain anonymous, please indicate so. And you can also click the hand icon to indicate you have a question, and I'll unmute you and you can ask your question aloud for the group. I do want to state, Steve, the slide that we had for the how to build a profitable team, it is October 3rd, but that is a Thursday, and I apologize for the word Friday being there in that slide, but it is a Thursday. So we do have a hand raised right now. Jamal, I am going to unmute you right now so that you can ask your question. So Jamal, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks. Steve,
Hey, Jamal.
Question. Hey, how are you?
Sure. Good, man. Good.
Good. I had a quick question. You know, I run an employment firm, and we sort of live on pops. I guess contingency, and also do some professional license defense. And what this has been a good year. Last year was good. And I'm sort of torn. I know I need to bring on potentially another associate or paralegal, but I'm trying to figure out when does that make sense? I mean, when do you, in your experience, see, like, look, you're looking at a firm. I mean, I've got someone who handles my intake, but at what point does it make sense to bring on that other associate or paralegal to help allow the firm to expand the capacity? And that's where I'm kind of torn right now.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's probably the biggest question that a lot of lawyers wrestle with, because once you get the marketing down, then it all becomes about hiring and training and delegating work off your desk to really great people. Jamal, I'm going to give you two formal recommendations, then I'll give you kind of a really crazy thumbnail recommendation, right?
Okay.
I would say my two formal recommendations are come to either how to build or double your revenue, because you can spend more time talking about it there other than like 3 minutes at the end of the webinar. Here's my really quick thumbnail recommendation. Take half of what's on your desk, 50%, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And value that half. So if you're looking at things that you're managing as far as cases, and you're looking at maybe work that you're doing, take half, just divide half. That lower half, look out the next 3 months to 6 months and determine the cash value of that. So if they're POPs, contingency fee cases or hourly work, look and evaluate that. So you say, okay, well, Steve, I'm looking at that and I've got, I'm going to make up a number, Jamal. I got $100,000 of that half is $100,000. So that assumes that the upper half that you're left on your desk are the more valuable and more complex and more profitable cases. So we take the bottom half when we do this.
Okay.
And when we do this, I'm going to look at it from the perspective that I'm going to use the rule of 3. So if I look at that and you say, okay, I've got $150,000 worth of work there. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would divide that by 3, and that basically tells me about the salary range of what I can afford to have someone to do that work. So it's kind of like a really quick reverse engineering. So I would say, well, if I got $150,000 worth of work using the rule of 3, because if I want to make a profitable practice, I want to pay someone $50,000, they've got to produce $150,000 worth of work for me, gross revenue.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to do that, I would say, okay, I've got to analyze what that half is, usually the bottom half, the easier work, the less profitable work, and I would analyze that. And then I would figure out in there what it would cost me as far as a paralegal, legal assistant, or associate to do that work. Now, usually what happens, Jamal, when I start to look at, when I work with somebody on that, usually what happens is we look at the bottom half, we realize we may have some bad cases in there.
Yeah.
And we may have some less profitable cases in there. So what I usually do is say, let's clean out the trash first and get rid of those cases before we hire somebody because we don't have the profitable work yet. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep. It's great. Thank you.
So we got busy work there. We don't have great work there. So it's a time management and marketing function. And it's also somewhat of a, for me, when I get nervous, I'll take cases I shouldn't take, if it's a slow month, especially in contingency fee practices.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love, oh my God, I love contingency fee work. Oh my God, it's terrible. It's a terrible addiction.
I know the
But
feeling.
it makes you crazy. It
does.
makes you crazy.
Absolutely.
It makes you crazy. It makes you crazy. So Jamal, hopefully that helps, and hopefully we'll see you at a workshop in the future.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Mike, you got anybody else?
Just one thing to add to that. You've mentioned this before too. Sometimes there's a rule of 4. If the role you're looking to fill is a support person that supports another position in the firm that creates revenue, that can help you determine that support person's salary. So if their role is to support a revenue generator, they're a rule of 4.
Okay, that's very good. Okay. That's very good. So if you're doing a defense firm, you're doing hourly defense, like insurance defense, or work comp defense or something like that, and you have a non-producing assistant or non-producing legal assistant, meaning like you're not billable or non-revenue generating, Mike's right on the money. Sometimes we use a rule of 4 to do that analysis.
Perfect.
But Jamal, it sounds like you're right at the point in time that you should be working with us. So it sounds like a perfect timing for you and perfect timing for us. With that, Jamal, fantastic question. Mike, thank you for that. Mike, if it's okay with you, anything you want to say before we close it out for today?
No, just again, thank you.
One or two thoughts.
Thank you for presenting today. Thank you to everybody who attended. If you did not get your question answered, you can email that in to Grow at Atticus Advantage, and a member of our team will reply to you and get you the information you need. And again, the dates for all of those workshops that Steve mentioned are on our website. And thank you again so much.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Great question, Jamal. Mike, great job. Thank you, everybody. I hope you take some action off today's work. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Steve. Bye.